Hello and good evening, everybody. Thank you all for coming today for our annual New Jersey Town Hall here in Palisades Park. My name is Richard and I'm the Executive Director of Korean American Civic Empowerment. This town hall has been planned for the past several months, arguably for the past year, trying to put together community concerns, questions, and other things that we do need to talk about as a community here in New Jersey. So I want to thank everyone that made it here tonight. This is a very important event that's held almost every year. I know we didn't have one last year, but it's important that we catch up on a lot of stuff that we need to catch up on, right? So I would like to invite the KAANJ to give a few words as we open up tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome and thank you for joining us today. I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to CASE for organizing this crucial forum in collaboration with many community leaders. Your dedication to addressing community and systemic issues is truly appreciated. A special thank to the distinguished dignitaries of District 37, Senator Gordon Johnson, Assemblywoman Ellen Park, and Assemblywoman Heidi Sharma Hader, for your participation. Your presence today reflects your commitment to our community's future, and we are grateful for your engagement. Together, I am confident that we can work towards meaningful solutions that will strengthen and uplift our community. Thank you again for being here, and I look forward to our discussion. Thank you.
So all I want to say is I'm extremely honored and pleased to be here today. It is on? Very close, okay. To talk about all the important issues that you have raised in the questionnaire you sent us. And I hope we'll be able to provide answers which will be meaningful and which will resolve issues that you have in your minds. The work that the Korean community organizations do is really remarkable and admirable. You work so hard in the community on very many facets, whether it's education, voting rights, health, community well-being. I'm a real admirer of the work all the different Korean communities do. And it's a pleasure to be here to talk to you today and to present you with our responses to your questions as well as our ideas. So thank you for this opportunity.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ellen Park. I am the other side of my colleague, Sharma Hader, at District 37. As you guys know, I'm the first woman assembly member for the state of New Jersey. Just to give you a background, there's 80 assembly members, 40 senators, hence the two of us and one senator. But, you know, I'm the only East Asian member on both the Senate and the Assembly in New Jersey. So it'd be great if we can, you know, inspire the high school interns that are here today to get more civically involved, and maybe you guys can run for president someday, is my hope. You know, we're here to answer any of your questions. But I also want to say, though, you know, since I've been an assembly member, you know, I think it was the first time in the history of New Jersey that we were able to get some funding for our community organizations. And I'm just very honored and proud that this last budget we were able to get some funding for AWCA, also for the Englewood Asian Health Program, as well as we have one other organization, Give Chances, who also really give a lot to the community. So, and that is not just a, you know, it's not bragging rights for me, but it's really what everybody here is doing together. So I'm very proud of you guys for working with me. And if, again, if there's anything we can do moving forward, you know where to reach us.
Well done. I'm Gordon Johnson, the senator from this district here. I've been representing this district for about 20 years now. I remember about maybe 19, 18 years ago in the Korean community, I think our first challenge or first fight was ensuring that our ballots, election ballots, were printed in Korean. That was like 18 years ago we worked on that, and then we got that through. That was one of my first things I worked on in the Korean community. And through my years here and representing this great community, I'd like to say that as I look out to the audience here, a lot of young people. So you're the ones, you're the futures. So get your friends involved, you stay involved, get your parents involved if you can, but we rely on you to take this country forward. It's your quality of life we're working on. So we'll try to answer your questions today. And the one issue I have with the Korean community is bundagi. So I don't like bundagi. I tried it once, it didn't work out so well. So everything else is fine. So thank you for allowing us to say a few words today.
Presenters that will be coming tonight. We also have some professors that will be giving a presentation based on the research that they've been conducting over the past year. Short presentation followed by the initial questions up here, and we shall continue that as we go. So without further ado, I believe Professor Yoon-Jun Nam from the PhD, School of Social Work, University of Buffalo, part of the Case Research Committee, will be giving a short presentation followed by the question, as well as Professor Chung-Se Jung right after. So, Professor, you have the floor.
Okay. Hi. Hi from Buffalo. Thank you for having me. I and my colleagues conducted a research on the disaster among Korean American community in New York and New Jersey. So while I'm doing the research, I have some policy concern. So I wanted to present my research, but also have some questions. So title of my presentation is Disaster Assistance for Immigrants Without English Proficiency and Digital Literacy. So I have bad news for everybody because New Jersey faced increasing risk of the disaster. I wanted to minimize this stuff. Okay. So in the past, New Jersey was relatively safe from hurricane or other natural disasters. But the problem is because of climate change, damage has been intensified in recent years. As you can see in this slide, 3 out of 5 hurricanes with the largest death toll occurred after 2010. So the Sandy, 37 people were sacrificed. That was 2012. Ida, it was very recent, and 31 people were dead. And then the 2011, 10 people were killed by the Irene. The other thing is also New Jersey is very vulnerable for infectious disease because of a high population density. As you know, New Jersey is the #1 in terms of the population density among 30 states in the United States. And population density make the state vulnerable to infectious disease and public health disaster. As you can see, the COVID-19 death rate was highest in New Jersey in 2020 among all United States states. The death rate was 141.6. That means 141.6 people died per 100,000 population. It was bigger than New York State, that was #2. And it was more than 8 times of Vermont. Only 6 people died of the COVID-19. And also the New Jersey has high percentage of commuters, so it has it increased the risk of infection, and I think New Jersey should do something about it. And then there are many residents without health insurance, people with limited English proficiency and undocumented immigrants. They have limited access to healthcare. So I wanted to share my research about the COVID-19 pandemic. Conducted a qualitative research using in-depth interview, and I interviewed 22 small business owners and 15 small business employers and 2 professionals. What I learned from my research is a pandemic government relief program were essential for survivors. Many Korean immigrants were able to survive thanks to COVID-19 relief program. These programs were essential for meeting their basic need and avoiding permanent business closure. So, one small business owner said, "I could survive thanks to the Paycheck Protection Program. Without PPP, I might." And many owners closed their business. I would be one of them if I had not received the PPP. And one small business employee say, there weren't really any major blow. There wasn't, because me and my husband also had 600 extra unemployment benefit. Otherwise, we would have been hurt. So the expanded unemployment benefit was very helpful. Also, that the relief program changed some Korean Americans' perception of the U.S. government. They recognize government could be big help. One small business owner said that for 30 years living in the United States, this was the first time that I received a big help from the government. But the COVID-19 relief programs were very helpful, but not everybody received the relief program easily. In fact, more people expressed challenges they faced in accessing those relief benefits. Korean American without English proficiency and digital literacy had hard time in receiving relief programs, because they couldn't navigate relief program application system without language and technical support. One small business owner said to me, English is not our first language. I often feel depressed because of the language. For example, the government provided various benefits during the pandemic. Native English speakers obtained information much quicker than we did. Consequently, they received every available benefit and the maximum amount possible. However, it was extremely difficult for us to apply for this benefit, and we received much less than we deserved. So many of them felt they were discriminated. And there was no functioning language services, at least at the beginning. And then the internet access, and there are many people who couldn't apply because they did not have internet access, or they did not know how to use internet. I know why older people could not get relief benefit. It was because everything was done online. Nobody answered phone. Internet only, no exception. Luckily, that the community organizations and social service agencies stepped in, and that made Korean American have access to the relief program. I didn't know that unemployment insurance benefit was available. I lost my job because of the lockdown at that time. I get assistance for a job search. To get assistance for a job search, I called Lincoln Center and KCS. They informed me about the unemployment insurance. So I applied for it and received the benefit. One small business owner say, it was very hard for me to apply for government benefit. I didn't know how to do it. the president of the association uploaded information on PPP and other program through KakaoTalk group chat. I received tons of help from the association. That means Association of Korean Nail Salon of New Jersey. And people whom I get to know through the association, those fluent in English in the association helped me apply for government benefit because they also run business. They knew exactly what documented I needed. So my question is, because of climate change, we'll have more chance. There are increasing chance of the risk of the hurricane and a pandemic more frequently than in the past. While New Jersey was rarely hit directly by hurricane previous, recent events have demonstrated intensified damage as evidenced by rising death toll in recent hurricane. To address these challenges, we need robust infrastructure and funding for various types of disaster. What measure is the government taking to prepare for next disaster?
And Professor
My
Andrew?
second question is, additionally, how is the government ensuring the provision of high-quality language and technical services and internet access? New Jersey passed a language access law in 2024. Thank you, legislatures, mandating language interpretation and translation across state agencies. Unfortunately, it does not guarantee the language access, as we can see in New York's case. Despite New York State having a language access law before the pandemic, many Korean immigrants struggled in accessing language services for government relief benefit in New York. What steps will New Jersey take to ensure timely and accurate language service for those with limited English proficiency? What will New Jersey do to ensure prompt and accurate language service for people? And then without internet access and digital literacy, many could not apply for government program. What is the government plan for equal access to government benefit? The last one is, during the pandemic, community organizations helped fill the gaps in language and technical services. How does government collaborate with those organizations to prepare for next disaster? What support does the government offer to enhance the disaster preparedness capabilities of the community organizations? Thank you.
Well, I can address the language access one, just because we just passed a bill. I think it's A2838 or A2848. Getting the two.
3837.
20. I thought it was no.
3837.
Oh, 30. See,
That's what my
3837.
staff wrote down for
Okay.
me.
I was actually part of that bill. I'm terrible with numbers, but anyway. So moving forward, what the state is going to provide is all of the state documents will be provided in the seven most spoken languages in the state of New Jersey. And so that's going to change from time to time. It won't be the same, but currently it's Spanish, Korean, Chinese, or Mandarin, right? Portuguese,
Gujarati.
She's got it, right? So, that will definitely help with any kind of disaster or situation, any kind of, relief that we need as far as language access. So I'm very happy to be part of that bill.
And I want to add about the accessibility. New Jersey is allocating $263 million and created this broadband equity access program, which is to ensure that there's high-speed internet provided, particularly in areas where, underserved areas where it's not available or available in less capacity. And they predict that by 2029, there will be 100% coverage. So 2029 is like 5 years from now. So I think that's a very, very well-tracked program over here. So that's another part of the thing, the language and the ability to access the internet.
I guess I'll take the global warming then.
Yes.
Okay, global warming's on me. For those who live in this area, Englewood, Tenafly, Bergenfield, Leonia, Powell Park, there is a group, actually, or it came out of our office. We're getting graduate students, doctoral students, to do a study, a flood mitigation study in this area. You can't just do one town, it has to be an area. And that has started already, where they're going to try to figure out how to mitigate the damage from this changing weather patterns that we have. So that's what we're doing in this area here. Statewide, I'm sure it's going on in other parts of the state too. I'm letting you know that these students out of NJIT, doctoral students, are working on a plan for this area, for this region. And that came out of the 37th district.
Thank you. I think that New Jersey is already started working on it, so I'm, very thankful for what you have been done.
Great,
I just want to add one thing. Now that I did the research, I want to make sure everybody knows about it. That the New Jersey State Library has got a FEMA program which is called Prepare-a-thon. And they're going to train all the state, public libraries, provide them toolkits of how to help during emergencies. So to be able to provide government documents, to be able to provide internet access. This happened after, actually I think most of the work happened after Hurricane Sandy, Superstorm Sandy, because that's, I think, was a real wake-up call for this region. And a lot of stuff has come out of that. And the Department of Environmental Protection has a lot of grant programs in place for municipalities to deal with many of these issues. But as the Senator said, the main issue is to do it as a regional program and to look at the whole flooding issue on a regional basis. So we're trying to cover both sides, locally as well as regionally.
So, and if you guys want to know what that is, it's Fort Lee, Leonia, Palisades Park, Ridgefield Park, Pagoda, Teaneck, Hackensack,
Tenafly, my hometown.
Tenafly, sorry. And then we're Englewood. Was that? And Englewood Cliffs.
Englewood Cliffs.
Yep, there you go.
So Professor Jung, if I know you have a presentation, but we're also kind of pressed for time tonight. If you can summarize the gist of the presentation in 2 to 3 minutes before the question, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
So let me start with a snapshot of hate crimes. Okay, this is the statistics in New Jersey. So as you can see, this chart on the right side, actually the year 2019 New Jersey State Police got only 39 anti-Asian hate crime incidents, but these numbers went to higher 129 in 2021 and even 2023 number was 139. So as you can see, this chart is almost tripled up. Okay, so if you can see a report, the State of New Jersey Bias Incident Report 2020's COVID-19 brought with it an increase in bias and prejudice, creating an environment in which hard-hit and persistent othering could resurface and intensify. This context likely played a role in the spike in the report by bias instance in New Jersey in 2020. That is especially true when it comes to anti-Asian racism. Actually, this is the background of our research. So based on this background, our research team would like to raise 3 research questions. The first one, what kind of experience in the racial ethnic discrimination and violence did we undergo during the pandemic, and how did it respond to the pandemic-induced racial, ethnic violence and hate crimes? Second, what were the Korean American strategies to overcome the pandemic-induced racial and ethnic discrimination and the victimization? Third, how do Korean Americans perceive the strategy of the Pan-Asian solidarity? How do Korean Americans view alliance strategy with Black people? So actually, this is a research method and best data, but I'm gonna skip this part. So here is our one of the major findings: the perceptions of the Pan-Asian solidarity and alliance with the Black people. So as you can see this chart, so we made some 4 patterns. Okay, so we figured out the 4 patterns. The first one is individualistic. The second one is Korean exclusive. Third one is Pan-Asian, no Black allies. Last one is Pan-Asian, Black allies. But we'd like to more focus on the last category, Pan-Asian, Black allies. So actually, in order to overcoming Asian victimization, Asian violence, Asian racism, we need to create the last category to over the other categories: individualistic, the Korean exclusive, and the Pan-Asian, no Black allies. So our study found that the individuals who engaged in the closer interactions with the other racial groups and became aware of the history, cultures, discrimination experiences, and the challenges of other Asian and the racial groups are more likely to think that collaboration with this group is necessary to fight against the anti-Asian racism and other forms of racism. So this category should be extended like this. So in order to get the community solution, I would like to quote a very important statement from our interviewees. The first one is awareness. Second one is education. A Korean American argued that awareness of Asian racism should spread widely. For example, it is a lack of education that I think contributed to this prejudice and the racism. And also, I'd like to introduce the other things, education, specifically many young adults responded that the most effective solution to combat anti-Asian violence and racism is education, okay? So they also answers that the studying the history of Asian immigrant would increase their understanding of Asian Americans. For example, we got this statement: education is most important part or the core curriculum. There's nothing about the Asian people's right. So actually we can figure out those kind of things from the other organizations, the survey. Okay, so the most effective solutions in addressing anti-AAPI hate is education. As you can see this chart. Also, we believe our most powerful tools against racism, bias, and exclusion is education. So luckily, the New Jersey, we had the elected officials initiated 2 important bills. The first one is S4021, and another one S3764. So S4021 will create an AAPI curriculum requirement for schools. The next one, S3764, will establish the commissions for the Asian American heritage within the Department of Education. So 2 years ago, so Governor Bill Murphy signed the legislation that will ensure that our contributions, history, and heritage of Asian Americans and the Pacific Islanders are included in the New Jersey student running standards for the social studies for the student in the kindergarten through the grade 12. It's good news for me, not only for me, yeah, for all ours, right? So actually here I'd like to raise those 3 questions. Okay, the first question: what can communities do for their school districts to continue and create AAPI, the resources and education if there is limited funding? This is our first question. Second, how can there be proper regulations of education curriculum and the training for the local teachers? This is our second question. Our final question goes: how can local governments support funding for the addition of the AAPI curriculum? Thank you.
There is currently curriculum that is being taught in schools. I think I'm working with the AAPI New Jersey, which is based out of Montclair, to maybe have more of a uniform or guidelines that we can share with the rest of New Jersey state, so that, you know, maybe from one town or one area, they're learning something maybe a little different than in another area. And I think it would be better that we have some continuity, some basic kind of history that we can provide for all the children in New Jersey. So we are working towards that. As far as like funding, so we were also able to get AAPI New Jersey $300,000 this year to continue in their efforts. So, you know, I feel like when there's a will, there's a way. So we continue to, you know, keep going.
I just want to add to that AAPI New Jersey has a wonderful program in which they go into the schools and they actually train the teachers. That's where it starts. They do professional development for the teachers. I know that because I was talking to them about doing it in my town also. So we have a large Korean population in Tenafly, as you all know. I live in Tenafly, and you know, so I asked them if they would be able to do that, and they're working with the Board of Education on that. So I think that's a very good approach they are taking of professional development. But there are some schools. I learned that Jersey City has an AAPI curriculum. Cherry Hill has an AAPI curriculum. Princeton. So some schools have already started implementing these programs.
And to repeat what Ellen said before, a standardized response to this or plan statewide. Department of Education is working on ensuring that there are Asian studies being taught in the schools, in our public school system. I'm hoping it's done in the primary grades, starting in maybe third or fourth grade, and go from there, because young people, when they're out playing with each other, they don't know about race, they don't know about color, they don't know about religion. All they know is that they're playing with their friends. And to get people together and to defeat discrimination and racism, you have to educate people as to the customs, the beliefs, and of different people that don't look like you. And I guess sometimes you have to educate some parents about that, but it has to be done in the school system, I feel. That's the place to do it. And that's what we're focusing on in New Jersey.
So, thank you. Professors, do you have any follow-ups?
No, thank you for. I respect all of your support from the elected officials, and actually, as far as I know, the other organization, they do have the more in-depth conference with the questions related to this issue. So I think I'd like to lay on to the next organization to raise this issue. Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you, professors. All right, so let's move on. Next on the agenda, I believe we have Sarah Lee from Korean Community Center.
Hi, my name is Sarah Lee. I'm a program manager at the Korean Community Center, KCC. And then first of all, I'd like to thank you for the sponsoring S4021 and A6100 to the Senator Gordon Johnson. Thank you very much. The Korean Community Center recognizes the importance of Governor Murphy's initiative to implement Asian American studies in public schools. However, we are aware of the challenges some school districts face in properly implementing the curriculum due to limited funding and resources. We would like to address this issue with the Senator and Assemblywomen and seek guidance and support for our community. Despite the mandate for AAPI curriculum, many school districts struggle with insufficient funding, making it difficult to provide the necessary training and resources for teachers. Community involvement and support are crucial to bridge this gap. While state mandates are in place, local government play a crucial role in securing and allocating the necessary funds to ensure that schools have the resources needed to implement the curriculum effectively. And here's my question. How can local governments be encouraged and supported to provide additional funding for the integration and maintenance of the AAPI curriculum in public schools? Thank you.
So, yeah.
We're doing it.
Right, it's being taught right now. So it's, obviously the governor set up a commission to oversee the curriculum. But again, because it's a new program, it's a couple of years old now, right? Yeah. So, we're working with AAPI Montclair to, again, kind of set the tone or set the guidelines as to what should be taught uniform, thank you, right, standard, so that there's continuity. So let's say, if you're South Jersey and you're being taught AAPI curriculum in 5th grade, that curriculum should be somewhat similar to what we're learning here in Bergen County. So, that's what we're working on to make the program, the AAPI curriculum better.
And let's not forget, for years, we fought to get African American studies into the school
Yeah.
system. All right, we fought for years for that, and we finally were successful with the Armistead Act. So that's also a part of it. But some towns, they may have Filipinos, or they may have other ethnicities, Indians, and
Pakistanis.
or some towns may have Pakistanis. But if that's a part of that community, a large part of that community, or a large minority of that community, and then the young people should be taught about the customs and traditions of that particular group. In this way, to get a better understanding of what's going on. In the Jewish community, where they worship on Saturday, they don't eat certain foods, they have certain customs that they follow. But young folks don't understand why they do that, unless they get together and talk about it. Say, well, we do this because, for whatever reason. It's not a Bible.
It's the Hebrew Bible.
The Hebrew Bible. Okay, we'll go with that. Okay.
Quran? No, not Quran.
No, it's not definitely not the Quran. Anyway, so, but their traditions go back to biblical times.
Torah. It's called Torah.
Oh, the Torah, yes.
That's it.
The biblical, thank you.
Yeah.
The Torah. So, but then again, it's their customs, traditions that folks don't understand, but at least if they're taught about it, or they're with people who explain it to them, there's less threatening, or just something that they do. And it's like, you're different to them. So it's all about education.
I mean, in
the
our
primary
district,
grade.
though, we are, the parents are very hands-on. So, as some of you may know, we have the regular PTA, but then sometimes we have we call ourselves the Korean PTA, but we always, get together every year to have certain holidays that we celebrate with our school district. Like, so for Engel Cliffs, we did 어린이날 celebration every year, and the moms always, collect all the money. They do everything to ensure that that day is celebrated with all of Engel Cliffs. So we're very fortunate up in Bergen County that we have such a strong community that takes upon themselves to make this happen for the children. But we want to make sure, again, people maybe down in South Jersey who might only have 2 Asian kids in the class still know certain cultural holidays and are aware of the fact that there is that we should be proud of our Asian heritage. So.
Next up, we have Kay Kim, president of Educate Together.
Good evening. My name is Kay Kim, the president of Educate Together. To begin with, I'd like to share the famous quote by Mr. Nelson Mandela. He said, "The education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." So tonight, I want to discuss the vital role of civic education in shaping well-informed and responsible citizens from a young age. Thank you for Senator Johnson. On July 23rd, 2021, Governor Murphy signed into law PL 2021, Chapter 185, which requires that beginning in the 2022-23 school year, each local Board of Education shall provide course of study in civics, which shall be taken by all students in an appropriate middle school age. But this bill says the instruction does not need to be scheduled as standalone civic education, civic classes, but civics content be addressed into our social studies, U.S. history, and sometimes economics. And I strongly believe that the civic education is crucial enough to be taught as a separate, dedicated class in our K-12 classes. Civics education provides students with the knowledge and skills necessary to understand and participate in our democratic processes. So by offering a standalone civic classes, we can ensure that all students receive comprehensive and focused instruction on these critical topics. So I thank you for your ongoing effort to improve our education system, but we'd like to ask you followings. Would you support an initiative to introduce standalone civic education classes in our K-12 schools? If so, what steps can we take together to advocate for and implement these important changes? Thank you.
What can we do to ensure that happens? That's what you're asking me.
Yes.
And there's a process. It's called legislation. And if we don't want to do the regulatory route, which we probably should not do, it should be done through a state statute where the legislature says and directs the DOE, Department of Education, to direct the school boards throughout the state to ensure that civics are taught as a standalone course from K through 8th grade, or even further up, even through high school, K through 12. I'm sorry, K through 12. So that is a process that I would recommend using, where you use legislation to do that. This is the way it has to be done. So that'll be a bill.
Okay, another bill.
And I know that they do it in California. I researched, Senator.
All right.
They do it so it is possible.
Yeah, I spoke with many high school history teachers and social study teachers. They know they should teach civics, but not standalone classes. They don't have enough time to teach the kids.
Yeah.
So that they always think they need a standalone classes.
They'll figure it out if you
Yeah.
make the statute.
Okay.
And it's very important also because a lot of people do not understand local government.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, young people have no idea what's going on in their local government, in their hometowns. And with this education, they will at least get a basic knowledge of what's going on, why things are happening, why is the park closed, why is the pool closed, well, where's our money going? They just don't know about municipal budgets and elected officials and who controls, who runs the city or the borough. They just don't know, and they should.
Yeah, I think so. This kind of issue doesn't seem to be very urgent matter this time, but it is very important in the long run, in the future, I guess. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have, on behalf of Give Chances, we have one of our case interns delivering the question on behalf of the organization. So can you please come up?
Yes, hello. I'm one of the cases interns. My name is Louise Choi, and I'm a rising senior attending MVD. So this question is directed to Assemblywoman Ellen Park. So the Comprehension Voting Rights Resolution, or AR-62, emphasizes the need for inclusive voting practices. How does this resolution propose to address the specific challenges faced by AAPI low-income communities and ensure their active participation in the electoral process?
I think we continue to do what we're doing right now. I feel that, ever since I became an elected assemblywoman, I've been very fortunate to have, all the organizations, our community organization support. And during, COVID, it was really crucial that we bound together to not only help our community, but also that's when basically, I got elected right after COVID, and to basically go out and say our power is the vote. And so, I continuously work with the senior centers and, KCC and KC, all the different organizations to make sure we go out and register our people to vote. And the way I got started sort of in politics, or I guess kind of the flame that started everything, was the fact that when I was in law school, I was a vice president for the Asian Pacific Law Students Association, and one of our events were to go out to Flushing Main Street in 1990, now I'm dating myself, 7, to register Asian community to vote, right? I think I stood outside for 2 days. I got 2 registrations, right? And that was a total eye-opener. Why didn't people want to vote? Why didn't they want to register? And back then I've heard, the excuses were, I don't know if it's true, but a lot of people would say, I'm not a citizen. That's just a fast way so that they don't have to, deal with me. I'm not a citizen. The second thing they would say is sometimes, will the government have my information? They're nervous that the information that they give in order to register is going to somehow be used against them, right? And so I think, it's now 2024. We can tell them, no, voting is your right. Voting is something that everybody should feel obligated to do, and you shouldn't be afraid of the government, right? They're not going to use your registration by means of, coming down your door because, let's say, for taxes, IRS, or whatever it is that they think. I think we need to tell our community that one has nothing to do with the other, and we have to continue and continue and continue to register, make sure we take them to go voting, because right now, even in District 37, I think only about maybe 10% of the Koreans vote, which is a very small number. We should try to reach double that. My goal is to hopefully that'll double it, especially this year, because it's a very important year in November. And so we're really going to have to go out in full force and make sure people are going to register and vote.
So let's move on to the next. I believe we have Jessica Lee, Vice President of the Korean American Nail Association of New Jersey. If you can please come up.
Hello. Actually, before I ask you the question I came to ask, I just wanted to acknowledge, it seems like this meeting started with the language barrier. And I just want to acknowledge your support in maintaining that bill, that it doesn't die, and you were proactive in keeping it alive. And hopefully soon we will be able to take the test in our native language. Yes. So I just wanted to acknowledge that first.
Yeah,
And
we're still working on that, yes, yeah.
yes, but we heard what you
For the
did.
certification?
Yes.
To be, and also to give the test in a language besides English.
Right.
Okay.
So that's one. And our main question is, right now, we are not allowed to file for state tax with TIN number. And we can't file tax under 1099 either. And 1099 is imposed by the cosmetology department. So it could only be done with W-2 form. So is there any way either one options can be offered to us?
Okay, you're saying that you cannot pay state income
Taxes,
tax?
yeah,
You can't
under
pay state income
TIN,
tax?
yeah.
Or business tax?
Right. The undocumented, yes, sorry,
Undocumented,
yes. That's important,
Oh,
yes.
you left that part out.
Yes,
That's an important part, but.
yes, it is.
So undocumented people are not allowed to, or do not pay, or not allowed to pay
They want to pay.
taxes. They want to pay,
Yes.
Right.
but not allowed to, okay.
But I think it is accepted by the federal. It's not accepted with the state
Talking with the TIN?
right now.
Yes, well, yeah. They don't have an EIN, right?
T,
They don't have a
TIN.
DIN?
It's
T.
called the TIN.
Oh,
Yeah,
TIN,
tax
TIN.
ID number.
A TIN.
Tax ID
Yeah.
number.
Yeah, they don't have they don't have a tax number?
So they do have the TIA number, but I believe right now they can pay federal tax, but they cannot do the state tax. So
Okay.
that's
I'll
one
get
of
back,
the.
I'll have to get back to you on that unless you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have
I
to
don't
check
know
on
the
that.
way
We'll
I'm
check
not
when I get
sure.
back to you.
We'll have to
Okay.
check on that
Alright.
one.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank
We'll
you.
get back to you. Because we know, we like money in the state, so
Yeah.
we're not paying taxes. We'll work on that.
Next up, we have Sungwon Kim, Program Manager of Minkwon Center.
Hello, nice to meet you, everybody. My name is Sungwon with Minkwon Center for Community Action in New Jersey, Palisades Park. My pronouns are she, her. Before jumping into my own question, I wanted to kind of talk about that briefly, since it seems like it's just up in the air. People can pay taxes with TIN, ITIN, individual tax ID number, but in that field, they cannot to the state. So because that field is so specific, they cannot pay. For other undocumented folks doing other stuff, let's say consulting with ITIN or whatever, they can pay.
So that's-
But it's for that field
So
specifically.
that's like an oversight, basically. It's
You
an
mean-
oversight.
He might be the better person to talk to, but I just want to share that with you all.
Okay.
You
Well,
mean it's only in that one field?
in that one
they
field, yes.
cannot pay?
Yeah.
Is
Only-
that what you're saying? Yeah, please.
John,
Here he comes.
Yeah, he-
law is we cannot report the tax 1099. No. No independent employee. No. All you do is
We'll look into
We'll have
that.
to
Yeah,
look
we'll
into
look
it.
into it.
We'll look
We'll
into
get
We'll
back
have
to you
to
on
do
that.
some research on that and get back.
That sounds interesting.
That is
That's
really.
a good challenge.
Yeah.
thank you. I will get into my own question now.
Okay.
Before jumping into the question, I wanted to express what we've come so far. So we were able to share some great news in the past year, such as passing the eligibility for undocumented immigrants regarding driver license and healthcare for undocumented children under the age of 19. And passing the language access bill just this year in January 2024 for immigrant communities all over the state of New Jersey. Now, we talked about language access a bunch of times today. It is in the implementation stage, meaning that everybody's been working on it. Next year, January, all the agencies will have to have something in those languages that we mentioned before, let's say Korean, Chinese, Mandarin, Hindu, whatever, that we have so far for the 7 top most spoken languages in New Jersey. So, and then my question going into it, although there has been great progress this year for our community, I want to emphasize the fact that we still live in fear daily. The Bill 1986, S5112, established certain law enforcement and privacy procedure, also known as the New Jersey Values Act. And I know in the past, all 3 of you have been great so far, but as you know, this is dead now in January 2024, which was introduced back in 2022 in January. So along with Minkwon Center and other organizations have been really working towards something like this again, and we would love to see something like this again. In that sense, can I count on you to reintroduce bill something like this or support something like this? I know in the past, all 3 of you have been really great. And we are changing this name actually to Immigrant Trust Act. It's a little bit different than Immigrant Trust Directive that people get confused with. That was established in 2018. That's something that's related to more police policy, police department and such. So this is something that we're really looking forward to for undocumented immigrants all over the New Jersey, low-income families, likely because they will have mixed statuses in the family and we don't want to fear deportation. That means families are going to be separated. So that's why I think this is really important and look forward to hearing you back from. And if that's the case, can I follow up with an email in the future so we can move forward with it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking for all 3 of us.
Yeah, because we're all the 3 of us on bill.
Yeah, we're all on the bit. We're all on the bit.
Okay. Well, that was easy. All right. Let's move on to the next thing. It's actually a very recent incident that happened. Attorney Gene Kang over here, one of the board members from CASE, will be talking a little bit more about it.
So I'm Gene Kang. I'll be asking the question on behalf of CASE. First of all, thank you so much for taking time out of your evenings to join us here. I think it's a really great opportunity to engage with you, for the community to engage with you. It's really, I think, democracy at work. I think it's really important, and I really thank you for doing this. So as you probably heard by now, on July 28th, a Fort Lee police officer fatally shot a 25-year-old Korean American woman after responding to a call indicating that she was having a mental health crisis. Initial reports claim that she was holding a knife. I think we now understand that the family is disputing that claim, and we also understand that the incident is still pending investigation. So my question is not going to be directed to the specifics of that investigation, but as you may or may not be aware, it's been reported by the Attorney General's office that this is at least the 5th person shot and killed by police officers and law enforcement in New Jersey in 2024. And the Attorney General has indicated that statistically, 2 out of every 3 uses of force by law enforcement involve a civilian suffering some type of mental illness or who is under the influence. I know those are 2 very different things, but obviously, exacerbating circumstances. As a result, the Attorney General's office, along with the Department of Human Services, it's our understanding, has initiated a pilot program called Arrive Together, which pairs New Jersey state troopers with crisis intervention and de-escalation techniques, along with certified mental health screeners and crisis specialists when responding to these types of 911 calls involving behavioral health incidents. So my multiple part question, are you in favor of supporting the expansion of this type of programming to municipalities in your jurisdictions? And if so, while we don't know whether at this point there was some type of language barrier in that July 28th incident, as you may or may not be aware, untreated mental health issues are definitely on the rise in Asian American communities, and it's part of the work that a lot of these organizations do addressing that. Do you believe that any such program like that, if it's brought to your jurisdictions, should have adequate funding to ensure that there are, for example, Asian American specialists available, right, in your municipalities, particularly where there are large, predominantly Asian American populations to assist, right, with that de-escalation? And then further, should police departments in your jurisdictions receive special training to the extent that they already have not in mental health crisis intervention and de-escalation techniques? And finally, to the extent that you believe that some more cultural overlap, right, between law enforcement and their communities would help contribute to de-escalating these types of situations, what efforts do you believe can be made to make sure that your municipalities with larger minority populations have this type of cultural overlap and have more police officers and law enforcement that reflect more of the community that they're serving, so that hopefully these types of situations, to the extent that those cultural differences can help de-escalate, can be improved? So I know those are a lot of questions, but.
Okay, well.
Can I start?
You want, go ahead and
I'll
start.
start. Okay, just, first, my condolences and my heart, goes out to the family of Victoria Lee. I just want to say that I did meet with the parents today, and I've been working with the AG's office about, what we could do moving forward, and also when they're going to release the video.
Yeah.
So I was advised that it's going to be out very shortly, the video, and that, we discussed the Arrive Together program, how we can bring it to Bergen. And as far as the cultural overlap, she's 25, 26.
Yeah.
I think if there was a mental crisis expert there, English would have been fine for this particular incident, right? But the fact that nobody arrived, there was no mental health, and it was just a police officer. Yeah. And for, if you see anybody with a mental, the victims that are being shot by the police is definitely people of color, right? I mean, it's not a Korean issue, it's not a Black issue, but it's definitely people of color issue, right? Because for whatever reason, we're the ones who are getting shot. But I definitely think moving forward, we're going to have to legislate something. We're going to work together to ensure that stuff like this stops happening. I think, you know, just this year, other than Victoria, last year was Patterson and Jersey City also. And, you know, it's definitely a terrible growing trend where the police are not prepared for what's to come, all right? And so hopefully the AG will do a thorough, and I'm sure he will do a thorough investigation, and it will bring to light how we can work together to prevent an incident like this from happening again. So,
Thank you.
We've talked about the community, the police department reflecting the community when it comes to ethnicity or race, what have you. Very difficult to do.
Right.
Very difficult to do. We tried that for many years in the African American community to try to get more blacks on the
Which
police
is what I was
department.
thinking about actually initially when I was thinking about the
By the way,
question.
we had a shooting in Inglewood too, the same, very similar to one in Fort Lee
Yeah.
a while ago. But it should be a goal though. It should be a goal to try to do that. The civil service, I think, would have a problem with it, but to try to do something there, either change their regs somehow to allow different groups to take a test to somehow become or join the police department if there is of a certain ethnicity or race or what have you. But it's very difficult to do that. As for a police officer responding to an incident, and I'm an old policeman, so I'm kind of familiar with this, but if the officers who responded, if one did speak the language, it would have been very helpful, of course, obviously, right? Or if one understood had the basic knowledge of the culture, what's going on, also very important. I'm not so sure that's going on now in the police academy, where they do teach some culture courses there, but I don't think it's really a major part of the coursework. So, and like Ellen said, it's a tragic incident here. I believe in the Attorney General's investigation when he finishes. Maybe after this investigation, something will come out of this to cause us to change the way we respond to these type of incidents. So it's unfortunate to do it this way, but that's what happens sometimes in life.
And to your point, I think, you know, to the extent that these police departments are not able to recruit perhaps, you know, additional cultural training, and I guess what I'm picturing is, again, it may not have been necessarily in this incident, but I can picture, for example, a situation where you have an older Korean woman who's screaming loudly, and to the police officer, they can perceive that as a chaotic and potentially dangerous situation, whereas someone with that cultural background might understand she's just being a Korean ajumma, right? So, in all seriousness,
Yes, you're very true. And to get a basic understanding of cultures, where you're going to be working, is so important, and the history and customs. They're so important for not just police, but all first responders and probably all city employees, and county reserves. So we have to look into that, of course. But I think the findings that the AG puts out in the end of this will cause some changes statewide when it comes to police response.
Yeah, I want to add that it was an extremely tragic accident and entirely preventable, but I'm really sorry for the family. But also, one thing I would like, I don't know, you've been in law enforcement. I think that police also need to get some kind of training, not to immediately use a gun, but some non-lethal method to respond.
Exactly.
I think perhaps it's the way they are trained, and it's probably just like an instant response with unthought, like sometimes it's like when you're cooking, you don't even think of something you add because you're not using your brain, it's action in play. But really they need to be trained also. I don't know whether it's tasers or whatever, I don't even know the stuff that what you can do. But I really wish they would also get some training or some serious thing. Non-lethal response. Yeah. I mean, if somebody has a knife, there has to be a certain way to, or if they're not armed, because unarmed people get shot all the time.
Right.
So really, they need to find this. They have to make changes right at the police academy. And the senator is right. This will require and I'm really hopeful that the AG's report will lead to these changes statewide.
I agree, and as a former prosecutor, and to Senator Johnson's point, I do understand and I respect and sympathize with police officers and the situations that they're put in. And the reason I obviously asked the question, and I think you framed it perfectly, is I think it's about the community feeling safe, right?
Yeah,
so to
right.
the extent that I think this type of training is implemented, I do think at some point it's really important for the communities to understand what that training is and possibly what I'll call the rules of engagement or protocols are, so that they understand that they're safe, right, with law enforcement around them. And obviously making that available in other languages, et cetera. But
look, honestly, I'm a minority myself, and I know from my community that, especially and I'm an immigrant. Immigrants are always a little leery of the police, of law enforcement. They are not necessarily comfortable seeing a police officer. Even just seeing the police officer walking down the street gives you sometimes a little heebie-jeebies, So that's something which I don't think the police or they truly understand. I don't think people, I mean, I'm sure the police officer is saying, I'm there to protect you. But I'm saying, oh my God, maybe I don't have the papers. Maybe there's something else going on in my life. Did he find out I hit my neighbor's car? Whatever it is,
Right.
So there's that natural tension already there.
And bridging that divide is not easy, obviously, but important. But thank you so much. I thought those were really great responses, so thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have President Adrian Lee from Korean American Association of New Jersey.
My questions are going to be towards the same incident occurring in Fort Lee, La Victoria. And in addition, our Korean American community is very disheartened by the case of the Korean woman, a mother of a single family who has been detained for nearly 3 years due to repeated delays in her hearing and trials concerning the death of her infant child, the case of Gracio. Given this situation, the Korean American Association of New Jersey and many other organizations respectfully urges you to support comprehensive changes to the New Jersey and Bergen County protocols, both in the jurisdictional system to prevent long-term trial delays and in police response to mental health crisis. Specifically, we call for the inclusion of nonviolent response training for New Jersey and Bergen County Police and the establishment of relevant crisis interventions teams in each police department to prevent future tragedies. So the question is, what steps can New Jersey officials take to implement these necessary changes? And how can we, as a community, support these efforts to protect those vulnerable to mental health crisis and ensure timely justice in legal proceedings?
It's a constitutional right to have a speedy trial. So I don't know what's going on with that.
Well, I think, unfortunately, she got stuck right after COVID, and so the courts they're backed up. And then New Jersey has also shortage of judges, which doesn't also help. So, I think it's just that combination has really set her trial day back. But, I don't know all the details of what happened, obviously, but hopefully, I'm hoping that her case will be either brought to trial or they'll resolve it. I mean, this is her, third or fourth year going?
It's almost 3 years.
Yeah, so hopefully by the end of the year.
And she has a very good law firm defending her, so one of the best in the county. So I think
So we
that
pray
law
for
firm
her,
did
and we
well.
hope that she gets her, day in court
The
either.
trial.
Yeah, this fall, very quickly, or maybe they will resolve it without having to actually try the case. So who
Is
knows?
there any recommendation, anything that we can do?
We-
Or
If the
vice
case
versa?
is
I-
sub judice, if the case is in court, can we really?
I mean, we
No,
can't
we can't, no,
legislate
no.
anything
But
for speedy trial.
I think that,
But-
I think, I'll say this again, the law firm she hired, they've hired, they know what they're doing. I just let them do their job. I'm serious, let them do their
Yeah.
job. Because they know how to they have the relationships, they know the knowledge, the expertise to get this thing done for their client. Now, you mentioned before about response teams, or each town should have some type of response team, you said? Is that what you said before?
Response teams, yes, for, mental health crisis.
Okay, I don't know if every town should have one, but you'd have to regionalize that where two or three towns get together and have a team, a response team. So there's an incident in one of the three towns, they can just respond to it as opposed to every town having one. Because we're all small towns up here in Bergen County
Yeah,
anyway.
some of them are really small.
Yeah, so.
Right.
So
But I agree that we should have a different type of response for a person who's suffering from a mental issue, yes.
I know you're going to hate this question. So we believe that there is a wrong protocol here.
A what?
Placed.
A what?
A wrong protocol.
Protocol is wrong, you're saying?
Yes, we believe that there is a wrong protocol. The mother and the brother were calling for help, and instead, they got shot. Victoria. The delays also, but we have the wrong protocol. We have to have education, and in order to have education, we need to have funds. So,
Agree. I mean,
anything
it's obvious-
we can.
It's obvious something went wrong.
Yeah.
It's obvious something went wrong there. But we don't know exactly why or how until the AG releases the report.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we
then.
have to really wait.
and
Also the
and
911
video.
calls.
Yeah,
And,
and the
uh,
911 calls.
So until we get this response from the AG's office, who I have full faith in, we'll go figure it out from there. But it obviously is a problem, yes.
So we can, about the funds that we need for the education, is there anything we can do or we can collaborate?
I would say until you get the report from the AG's office, I'd wait until you get that report. Because you don't know. You don't know what happened.
It could
We don't
be-
know what happened there.
Right, right.
And
We're guessing, but we don't know what happened.
It
And
could
we
have
just
just
really
started
best
from
reports.
the beginning, the 911 call, right? Because doesn't it go to like Central, and then Central reaches out
Yeah.
to, right?
The local town.
Yeah, the
Yes.
local town.
Yeah.
So even from there, it could have been miscommunication. It's just really hard to say now because we don't know all the facts, but hopefully within the week's time, we'll know what's gonna,
All right, hopefully we have the body cam.
I would say you have to wait. We have to wait
Yeah.
to get the report.
yeah. And then obviously, like I said, I'm working on legislation. Obviously, we're gonna need appropriations to expand the Arrive Together program, because right now it's not
It's not
it's not statewide. So that's something we're definitely looking into.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up, on behalf of AWCA, another one of our case interns will be asking the question on their behalf.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chloe Chang. I'm going to be a rising senior at Pascagoula Valley High School. I live in Hillsdale, and I have a question for the Asian Women's Christian Association. In addition to the existing Ride Connect, is there potential to expand Ride Connect shuttle services to provide more convenient and reliable transportation options throughout Bergen County, which is the most densely populated county in New Jersey? Such an expansion could serve as a vital transportation solution for the county's senior population.
Plans at this time to expand the mass transit system in Bergen County, except for the bus routes that New Jersey Transit took over when the bus company went bankrupt. The contracted company went bankrupt. So New Jersey Transit is going to take those bus routes over in Bergen County. Don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know what they found on bus drivers, but I guess they'll figure it out. But that has been discussed, where we have some type of like a shuttle service, or even I don't know, like an Uber type system where it's paid for out of a central dispatch or something like that? But right, when you say ride connect, from where to where?
Easy ride she's talking about. It's like the free ride, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Senator, the
free ride to
program you're talking about, I have a bill to introduce micro-transit programs.
There we go.
It's going to be done as a test in 2 or 3 counties, and I've requested Bergen to be one of them. And it's going to be like an Uber, but not an Uber.
Right.
But they do it in Jersey City. That's where I learned about it. You call and the vehicle comes, and it's a very low rate. I think it's a few dollars, $2-3, and you get to your bus stop, or you get picked up from your bus stop and brought home. So I'm working with the Department of Transportation on that. I've been working on it for 2 years, so you know that's how long it takes for things to happen in government. But we are working on it, and if that comes through, because there's a lot of funding involved also, but if that comes through and it's successful, I hope that we can then do it in but certainly places like Bergen County, which are densely populated, really needed. But also there are places in South Jersey and those areas which have no mass transit at all. So they need it too. So that's what we are working on.
Thank you.
Next, we have the Korean American Sanctuary Churches Network.
And on behalf of the Korean American Sanctuary Church Network, I want to ask, considering that New Jersey has been relatively less affected by the influx of refugees, what specific policies or programs is the New Jersey State Legislature considering to support the integration of refugees and address any potential concerns that may arise? How do you plan to manage the impact on local resources and ensure the safety of our communities while promoting peaceful coexistence?
First thing we did in the legislature was to ensure that their identities are protected. In other words, we do not share their information with the federal government, or at least with the ICE. So if a local police officer happens to interact with an undocumented individual, he or she cannot pass that on to ICE, because we don't allow that. We've also closed, or we do not allow undocumented people to be housed in our county jail. We stopped that contract because we were making money. They're making money on people that way. So that's out, unless, of course, this person is accused of committing a crime. But just to be undocumented is not a crime in our eyes. So therefore, they're not being housed in our county jails. As for medical care, of course, there are nonprofits out there that will take care of it. They can go to for medical care. You can even go to a hospital if you have to. They have to treat you, and again, they won't pass that on to ICE either. So, and that's just medical care. Education is guaranteed to everyone that's here. Public education, K through 12 anyway, and I think we made it possible to get a
driver's license.
A driver's license.
Yeah.
And also, you can apply for a scholarship. Grants for college.
Well, that
I appreciate. Yes.
Yes.
My chief of staff is saying yes to that.
State grants.
So you have state grants you can apply for now to attend a state college. So we're slowly getting there, but that's what we're doing at the state level. Anything else? No?
Oh, I think you said it all, Senator. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I said it all.
Thank you.
And I believe we have our last question by Ann Kim Cha, President of Korean American Senior Citizens Association of New Jersey.
Hello everyone, my name is Julia Lee, General Manager at Korean American Senior Citizens Association of New Jersey. Our question is pretty similar to previous questions related to language services for people with a limited English proficiency. So I would like to ask Assembly Member Alan Park the following question on behalf of Ann Kim, the president of our organization. Okay. I want you to remember this question is coming from senior citizens, including someone like myself who need reading glasses wherever she goes. Thank you. Okay. How can the government improve access to social benefits for Korean American senior citizens by addressing language barriers And what specific measures will be implemented to ensure these individuals can effectively utilize available services and resources?
So as I mentioned before, that moving forward, any state documents will be provided in Korean. So any social benefits for senior citizens that come from the state, applications will be in Korean. Moving forward, obviously we've worked together, your organization and our office. So, if there's anything that we can assist with, we're always here as well. I just want to end by saying, like, we all work together for our community, right? And, everybody here, does so much great work. I just also want to commend you guys, right? And that hopefully, I don't know how long I'm going to have this seat. I don't know how long I'm going to, maybe I'll move to higher office, or maybe I won't be an elected official. Who knows? But, I just hope that we continue to still work together regardless. And I hope, when I do leave my position, that we can bring somebody else in from our community so that I can also pass the torch. So thank you guys.
Okay. Okay. In closing, no. Let us not forget the Anchor program.
Yeah, sorry.
And Senior Freeze.
That's right.
And the new one that's coming out, Stay NJ. Stay NJ. That's January 26th, I think that'll start. So these are all grants or programs to help people with the high cost of living here in New Jersey. You should apply for it. Well, Stay NJ can't apply until January of 2026. Stay NJ is, it'll pay half your property taxes.
Up to 10,000.
Up to 10,000.
I thought it was 6,000.
Oh, it's gone down to 6, sorry.
Oh, anyway.
It was 10.
Anyway, half your property taxes, and there's a ceiling.
Yeah.
If you have $6,000 or $10,000.
Yeah.
So half your property taxes with a ceiling has to be 65 years of age or older, making less than
500.
$500,000 a year. You get that right?
Yeah.
Was it 6 or 10? 10. Okay. You're right. 10. All right. So up to $10,000, 65 years of age or older, making less than $500,000 a year. That's a lot of money.
Pretty much. I think most
Yeah.
senior citizens will be eligible for Stay NJ.
But
But don't forget
the
Anchor.
fact is that only, I got this actually yesterday, somebody was telling me that only 18% of seniors in Bergen County access the programs they are entitled to.
Right.
And a lot of it has to do with language barriers and also with the difficult application forms. These are applications for SNAP and all, they're not easy to fill. So a lot of problems are related to how to fill the forms. And I think that's where organizations like yours can make a huge difference. I work with a lot of food pantries because that's part of the committee work I do. Now I see that a lot of food pantries now have people dedicated to helping fill these forms, even though that's really not one traditionally thinks of what they do. They help people fill their Medicaid forms, their SNAP forms, the WIC. They do all that work for them. So that's where I think organizations like you have to spend more time on if you want, because those benefits are there. And if they're not used, they go back to the federal government. So why shouldn't people who are entitled to them use them? Basically, it's their money to be used for them. So we as organizations have to step up also to ensure that the residents get what they deserve. And it all comes from taxes, so it's their money, basically.
How about that?
Yeah.
I think that's a great place to end today's meeting. So thank you everyone for coming today. These are very important conversations, and it's very important that we continue to have these conversations, not just saving it up for events like today, but to have these conversations as we continue on to the next meeting as well. So, and just talking about these types of conversations that we're having, sometimes we need to have the difficult conversations too, because those are the ones that are most worth having. But it's also important that we keep things civil and that we make sure that we communicate, that we hear, we listen, and we talk about the things that matter. So thank you all for coming here and doing exactly that. Thank you all for all the hard work that you all do. Is there anything else you'd like to close with? Just throwing it out there, not forcing it.
I just want to thank everybody for this opportunity. The questions were very thoughtful, very well thought out. The presentations were very informative. And I really thank everybody for giving us the opportunity to be here.
Happy Independence Day.